Well, joining me now for more on this is National Senator Ross Cadell. Ross, lovely to have your company this morning. It has proven to be a pretty cheap and highly effective weapon. Are you on board with the purchase? Is this the game changer that they say it is?
It is a long way from a game changer. The Switchblade 300 in Ukraine has been used for high value, low skin targets. It does nothing to tanks, it does nothing to any armoured vehicles. It is a very expensive way for a soft kill, but it is good to have because they are a targeted munition. But it is not a game changer in any sense of the word.
So when we talk about this, I mean, there's a lot of talk about Australia's defence capability gap. So essentially you're saying this is definitely not the answer.
No, it's an answer. There's lots of answers. I think the Labor government have gone ahead with this in this announcement, trying to make it something it's not, because they've dropped the ball on defence purchases. They've dropped the ball on what we can do to make Australia safer. And what we've seen in Ukraine is that they're actually using commercial drones with improvised explosive devices a lot more than the Switchblade 300. It is portable. It's like a mini mortar, and people can use it, and it can get soft skin targets. It can take out personnel. But at between $90,000 and $120,000 hit, it's a very expensive way of doing that. If we're getting the Switchblade 600, which can take out armoured targets, if we're getting other things, it might be, you know, part of an integrated package, might be a bit more substantial. But as this is more of an announcement to, you know, pretend we're doing something than actually changing the battlefield.
Well, of course, yes, as you just mentioned there, Labor did come under some scrutiny there for their lack of action here with the ADF. Labor has remained pretty tight-lipped exactly about how many Australia will purchase and at what cost. You mentioned that it's between $90,000 and $120,000. Why are they reluctant to go into detail about this?
I think they want the glib hit. They want the glib, yeah, we've got Australia back, we're looking after our servicemen and women, and they aren't. They aren't giving them the equipment they need to protect Australia. They aren't making the decisions they need to look after our servicemen and women. Even our veterans are suffering under this government. And we're not recruiting at the rates we need to because we aren't giving the people what they need to fight effectively. We're not valuing them. And this is a sugar hit. This is a, yay, we bought something shiny and new, but it fixes nothing. And this is what this government does. Lots of words, lots of hype, lots of press releases, but nothing really ever meets the ground.
OK, Ross, also today the Coalition is ahead of Labor in key battlegrounds of New South Wales and Queensland in the latest news poll. The political contest is tightening, so to speak. Why do you think there's been this shift in sentiment?
Because of what I was talking about before. People want action, they don't want words. They don't want to say, oh, here's what we'll do, here's what we all think of doing, here's what we've done. They want to see action in their lives. They want to see prices getting cheaper. They want to see affordability. They want to see the changes that Labor have been spruiking meaning something to them. And it's not happening. It's not happening in regional Australia. It's not happening in New South Wales. And even the other states are coming to a far closer election than they thought they would be. I think that's a good thing. I think a competitive election next time will bring a better policy for Australia and more meaningful change to mum and dad's wallets as we go forward. But it's tough. We sit in the Senate all the time and we hear about Labor's done this and this and this, but it hasn't done anything for mums and dads. It hasn't done anything to change their lives for the better. And these people are getting angry now. They're saying, you keep telling me I've got it so good because you've done all this. And they're not buying it anymore. And they will get angrier. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for Labor.
Well, I mean, when we talk about the Coalition, I mean, they have gained some support, if we can go and trust the news poll here, but they are lacking support among younger voters. Do you think that the Coalition has the ability to gain trust of younger voters? Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, every time I interact with Peter Dutton and his crew, he gets this. He's been a policeman on the front lines of Australia. He's been in regional areas as well as Brisbane. He understands what mums and dads are getting there. And when we come from this phase of what we want and what we like and words and woke and everything like that, when it comes to down what really matters, paying for the things we've got, making an easier life, keeping people safe, Peter will really come through, and I think that will come closer to the election when people have to make a choice about feeling good about themselves or actually knowing that they are safe and knowing that they have a future. And young people are the same. There's all these sorts of things, this noise at the moment. We've got this very strong movement out there, you know, the Israeli-Palestinian war. We've got all these things going on that are virtue signalling that are big outside Australia. When it comes to vote, when it's not a free poll about what we think and what we hope, when it really comes to what matters, I think the Coalition will do very well amongst the young people.
Ross, you've said here a few times now that Labor, have said that they're going to do things and there's a lack of action and a lack of detail, I guess. But you could say the same about the nuclear policy at the moment. When will the costings be released? Is the lack of detail hampering ability to sell the policy to voters?
No, I think quite the opposite. I think giving in bite-sized, digestible chunks. This is the policy about what will go, what down there, including nuclear in the energy mix. I think you'll see the next phase is how that fits in with renewables and gas and other technologies. You'll see that whole energy mix, and then you'll see the costings. I think what's happening is a very solid way of giving the information as the community, as the electorate can consume it, can understand it and get a real grip to it. And here in the Hunter Valley, where I am today, people in the Hunter Valley can't wait for the opportunity to get this thing going, create the jobs of tomorrow for 100 years. It'll be a great opportunity. I think you'll see as we release more and more in these digestible chunks, it will happen.
So just confirming exactly when will we see the costings?
I wish I was in the room that decided that. Unfortunately, I'm not, but you'll see it more. You'll see it well before the election. You'll see all of these things come out in packages that we expect the people to be able to understand and question. Because if you come out with everything all in one hit, one big, complex, integrated thing, people don't understand what to ask. We've come out and said nuclear will be part of our mix. They've asked questions. The communities where they will be cited are asking questions. They're interacting with us. The next phase of the mix, people will be able to ask those questions. And then when we come with the costings, they'll be able to be scrutinised. But I do note that in a lot of media today, they're talking about the government's Gen Cost report. Just about 20 kilometres to my right is where the Port Stephens offshore wind farm is going to go. Bowen and the government did not include any costings of offshore wind or connectivity in their Gen Cost plans. And that's what you're talking about. When you've got a government and all the resources of government and the plan they're currently undertaking, not talking about implementing, when they won't cost those things that they are planning on doing, that's when we should be asking the questions. Why aren't you including the cost of what you're doing, not what you plan to do?